Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is Kinetics and I'm over here in front of this map of my medieval city. Well, the beginnings of one at least. I was inspired to build this by my friend Astrodude of his channel A Productions. Go check him out, I'll leave a link in the description below. But his is more expansive than mine. Hopefully when I'm done though, it'll take up the entirety of this map, maybe even more. If this is successful and I'm enthusiastic about it, I might even build multiple cities or other medieval related builds and post it where you're seeing it now. But yeah, without further ado, I think we should just jump right in and show you what I've done. This is it. It's pretty cool, but it's not very much. We've got a few buildings surrounding a town square with a little fountain in the middle. Hopefully when I'm done with this, it'll look a little bit more densely populated. But in this video, I'm gonna show you, or I'll try to show you, what I did and the order of which I did it in. Starting from, like, choosing this location, all the way to building the last building, which was this one. Now for the location. At first I had thought I wanted a seaside setting, but then later I had changed my mind when I loaded up a new world and I saw this nice looking plains biome right next to spawn. This was a bit easier since it had a lot more open space, and this was my first time building something like this. This was the first house I built. I began by looking up this image on Google of a medieval rustic house. It looked pretty decent, and I thought I'd work on it. I started with the front face, and it didn't quite capture the aesthetic I was going for, but as I kept working on it, and I built up the walls, and I put in more detail, it started to look really good, and it became something that I was really proud of. So I'm standing over here in front of my medieval house. I'm gonna give you a quick little tour of it. Here is the pond with a seat. You can sit in there and enjoy your surroundings. There's a pathway that leads up to the front. I put in a lot of thought into the detail that goes on the exterior and in the interior, and I must say that I'm quite proud of it. I've made it resemble an image of a rustic medieval house that I found online. So you can take this path, and this will lead you to a doorway that takes you inside. And this is the interior. It's quite spacious. There's windows overlooking the roads outside, and there's a few little details here and there, and the smoldering coals in the fireplace. If you take some spare sticks and dump it in, you can relight it and enjoy a nice warm fire on a brisk, chilly evening. Down here is a stairwell that takes you to the lower floor, but we'll go there in a bit. Some more detail on the walls. For now, we're gonna go upstairs. Here is my bed with a little window. And down this place is a desk with a nice comfy chair that you can sit in, enjoy the smell of a flower, read or write a book, and enjoy the wind from outside, well, through the window. If you're feeling hungry, you can head downstairs because this place has it all. The kitchen, the dining area, the cellar. The kitchen has a couple of cabinets where you can store the food and hobs on which you can cook it. Here is the cellar with casks of wine and ale. And down here is a dining table where you can eat your food. We have beef stew apparently. Back here is a little place where you can wash your hands. And I have a little secret. Over here, there's a little stash, a secret stash of essential survival gear. Well, it's not really essential, more like the ultimate survival gear. But yeah, that's there. No one would really find that out unless they watch the video. Now that I had the first house in place, I thought it might be best if I actually got to work on the city. I started plotting out the layout. There was the town square, the bank, the restaurant, which will be removed later, probably, the blacksmith, the stables, the clock tower, and lastly, the post and bulletin. Those are the ones that I had planned out so far, along with the town square and the roads. And from then on, I got to work. I started working on the clock tower. It started from the frame. I built it up and I started filling it in. However, I had messed up and I had built up the clock tower with a 2-block center. The clock itself had to have a 1-block center, which meant I had to manually rearrange most of the blocks in the tower since I didn't have world edit. But at the end of the day, I had a pretty good clock tower. I'm satisfied with it. So here's the clock tower. I'm pretty happy with it. The roof design is really nice. And the flag came out pretty good as well. If you get down in here, there's a little entrance where it takes you to this inner chamber. There's a little bell at the top. Well, it's actually a really big bell. But above it, you can see various complicated mechanisms that are very noisy, and it sort of signifies the different gears and mechanisms that are making the clock function. The next build I had was the stables. The tricky part about this build was figuring out the block palette, the color palette, and the design and layout of the stables. The design and layout I had gotten from a Google image, which I had lost, so I cannot show as reference in this video. But the color palette and the block palette I got from experimentation, and I think it turned out pretty good. And here we have the stables. It's a nice looking build. If you come over here, we have various stalls where there are horses. These stables can be used to rest away your own horse, make sure he's nice and fed. Or you could maybe rent out a horse for temporary use. If we come in here, we have a counter and a chair for you to sit in. The clerk at the counter will be able to take note of your horse and its requirements. You will also be able to book a room for the night or just wait up here for your horse to be rested up. Little cabinet for cleaning supplies. Over here is the waiting room where you can sit and enjoy a view of the outside world. It's night right now, so it's a little bit dull, but hopefully when the rest of the city falls in place, it'll look a lot better. If you come in here, we have another waiting room where you can enjoy a drink with a friend or someone else. And lastly, here we have the bedroom with a little bit of storage, a potted plant, where you can sleep away the night. The stables is a pretty good looking build. It was challenging to incorporate Prismarine in a medieval era build, but I think I made pretty good use of it. There are several wood types, including oak, spruce, and birch, and I think dark oak somewhere. Yeah, that's it. I think it's a pretty decent looking build, and it's a good addition to the rest of the city. After this, I spent quite a bit of time working on the town square and refining the roads and just making a few other changes before I moved on to the last build that I had done, which is the Post and Bulletin. The Post and Bulletin was rather unique and a completely different style from what I'm normally used to, but I think it came out pretty nice. This here is the Post and Bulletin building. the bulletins where the townsfolk of the city can walk up to and check for the news of things that are happening within the city, such as over here there's a wanted sign, and there's some other things. The post office is mostly related to news and deliveries from outside the city. Here, on this top layer, the townsfolk can buy plots to have their mail delivered. Some of them are occupied, some of them are unclaimed. Um, this here, this level is not accessed by the townsfolk, but it's used by the people who work in the post office. This contains the mail and other things that have to be delivered to the people in the town, or have to be delivered out of the town. This building looks really amazing. The roof is spectacular. I've never tried this sort of style before. This was the first time, and I think I pulled it off quite nicely. However, I'm not sure if this is the best use for this building, because there was no postal service in the medieval era. So I might have to repurpose this building for something else in the future. But for now, this is what it's gonna be. Oh yeah, and I had also forgotten to mention that the reason why I had included the Post and Bulletin building in the first place was because of a show that I had watched, where there were couriers who delivered news from all around the world to different people for money. And while this was a fantasy show more than medieval, I still thought it might have been a good inclusion. Well, that's it for this video, and I hope you all enjoyed watching. There are a few things that can be improved, like the audio and video quality, but I hope it was still pleasant to watch. I will make changes and make sure this city looks more developed and densely populated. I will update you whenever I've made some progress, and I'll upload it on this channel where you're seeing it now. I hope you all stay safe. When I'm recording this, it's during the time of the COVID-19, and it's been disastrous. So remember to stay at home, stay safe, and well, yeah, have a nice day. Thank you for watching.